your God power. Get everything you ever wanted and live the life of your dreams. The Master's Course. Copyright 2010 by Richard Lee McKim Jr. All rights reserved. Let the quest for knowing begin. Video example, quantum physics and consciousness. What is this video about? This video example features two of the most prominent thinkers of our time who are expressing their views about quantum physics and the nature of consciousness.
For best results, pause this video at this point here and watch the video example mentioned in the segment. The links are located in the book chapter and at the end of the book. If you are watching this online, you will find the link for this video example listed in the notes section. Then, after watching the associated video example, continue watching this video from here.
Amit Goswami, PhD, says, in his own words, quote,
quantum physics enables us to see directly that we can make sense of the world only if we base the world on consciousness. World is made of consciousness. World is consciousness. Consciousness is the ground of being. Quantum physics makes this as clear as daylight.
Unquote. This means that the world is not only created by consciousness, but it is sustained and maintained by consciousness as well. Consciousness creates by meaning. Meaning is the foundation of the universe. We cannot predict the event, only the possibilities. So what determines the specific outcome from all of the possibilities? He continues by saying that, in his own words, quote,
consciousness must be involved. The observer cannot be ignored. Observer is part of the description of the world.
Unquote. We realize that consciousness is more fundamental than objects. That means that consciousness is at a higher level and has domain over matter. He continues by saying, in his own words, quote,
this mathematics shows us clearly that the movement of objects are describable only in terms of possibilities, not the actual events that happens in our experience. Only objects can be described mathematically, and only to the extent that they are possibilities.
Unquote. Quantum mathematics can only prove that it is possible that the object exists. This means that nothing is absolute, because at any moment it could be changed by a new and different meaning. It is consciousness that is in control of and directs matter. If we lived in a real, truly physical world where matter was a real physical thing, then it would be easy to prove again and again that a rock is a rock. But since the universe is a creation of consciousness in the form of meaning, it is only a rock at the moment, and its meaning could be changed at any time to something else such as bread or gold. So for the first time, science encounters free will, because the outcome depends on the choice of the observer, and that cannot be predicted scientifically. Amit says, in his own words, quote,
then we see that the chooser is free. There is freedom of choice. And of that freedom of choice comes our actual experience.
Unquote. This is your God power. The chooser always has freedom of choice. He can decide and assign any meaning he chooses to any situation, event, or object that he wants. And from that meaning, that choice, comes his resulting experience. Your experience is elicited and created from the meanings that you give it. Professor of Physics, Director of the Institute of Science and Technology at MUM, John Hagelin, PhD, says that, in his own words, quote,
consciousness isn't created by the brain.
unquote. He says that the entire universe and everything in it are alive and conscious at the very core. It is a field of dynamic, self-aware intelligence from which all things emanate. He says that, in his own words, quote,
"The deeper you go in the structure of natural law, the less material, the less inert, the less dead the universe is, the more alive, the more conscious the universe becomes. We're really living in a thought universe, a conceptual universe."
Unquote. What does this example show, and what does it mean? This is a wonderful video clip that proves that nothing is certain. Nothing is already settled. There is always a sea of infinite possible outcomes or possible transformations available. As these two prominent experts on quantum physics so aptly put it, quote, "Nothing is final and certain until the observer makes a choice," unquote. That is to say, the observer decides and asserts a meaning to the situation or event. At the moment that the situation or event has a meaning, a specific outcome is chosen and elicited from the sea of all possibilities by resonance. You might say that resonance takes the meaning and goes out and extracts the perfect and most appropriate outcome for that meaning. Quantum physics is the science of how observers and their meanings create and affect the outcomes of events. Once a meaning has been created, it resonates with the universe and elicits a specific response, which is then called the result or outcome. For once, it is completely understood that nothing in the physical is absolute. It is all changeable down to the most minute particle, and it all depends on the meaning asserted by the observer. It is the one power that we have, our God power, to assert meanings to events and situations, and even to matter itself, and cause them to change and reform themselves according to our meanings. This idea of unlimited possibilities in quantum physics is the most important aspect of reality. It is in the unlimited nature of reality that one can create and elicit any combination of elements that he wants to create his own perfect physical life experience. Meaning is the primary force of the universe. Nothing is more fundamental than meaning. Every other force and power, so to speak, is manifested into existence from meaning. It is meaning that creates, forms, and sustains everything in the universe in the first place, including atoms and all of their parts. In the last video example, Quantum Physics and Consciousness, John Hagelin, PhD, says that, quote,
"This isn't the world of electrons, it's the world of potential electrons. Pure abstract potential, pure abstract being, pure abstract self-aware consciousness."
Unquote. We live in a universe of potential electrons. That is to say that they are only electrons when we expect them to be, otherwise they might not even exist. All the, quote, forces, unquote, and energies that we have come to believe were fundamental and a constant of reality are actually manifested into existence. These include electricity, magnetism, gravity, nuclear, etc. All of these are functions of atoms and matter, which first has to be created by meaning. Other creations such as light, time, and space are also manifested into existence as a result of meaning. Classical physics has been used to explain and describe these manifested forces. However, later on in this book, we will be covering example after example where fire doesn't burn, bullets don't penetrate flesh, and fingertips can see like eyes. If these forces were truly fundamental and primary, then they could not be violated and proven impotent. However, time and time again, we will see that meaning has overridden them, which can only happen if meaning was more fundamental and more powerful than these so-called forces of nature.
To continue, go to How to Use Your God Power, chapter number 5, segment number 14. Let your quest for knowing continue.